Yo guys, what is up? My name is Grizzly, welcome back to another League of Legends video. I know this video is a bit clickbaity, but I promise you guys that the information I'm gonna share today is actually really important and it will most certainly help you climb. As you can see here, I just reached Diamond. I reached it today actually, and I reached it in under 20 games as you can see here, and I have a couple of tips which I used personally to help me have a high win percentage, because as you can see right now I'm sitting at a 70% win ratio, and obviously there's going to be some differences in the speed in which you climb if you don't have previous high MMR from the last season or stuff like that, but the tips I'm going to share with you will basically help you reach this level. Even though it might take a little bit longer, you can still do it with even a higher win percentage than I did, because when I got the 70% win ratio here I was playing against challengers, master tier players and high diamond players, and if you're climbing from for example like platinum or like gold or something, you will obviously face gold and platinum players for the most part, and if you use these tips which I'm gonna share with you today against these opponents, you will most certainly have a super high percent winning of games. So the first tip that I'm gonna share with you is to pick meta champions. Now, I personally, as you can see here, my most played champion this season is Nasus, and then it's Jace, and then I have one Vladimir game, one Darius game, and I got filled one game and had to play Annie, and I fitted my ass off, but this game I should have dodged for sure. But overall, guys, like, my main champions are like Darius, Jax, Olaf, but honestly, if I play like a decent Nasus, that's gonna net me more wins than if I play a really good Darius right now. It's just like how the game works, and if you really want to climb, you want to make sure that you commit to these OP picks, because the first couple of games I played with Nasus, I wasn't really sure like how to survive lane and stuff like that, but once I played like 5 games and I tryharded really hard all of those 5 games and I like tried to like really not tilt, I actually learned a lot and I got a lot better on the champion, and then I could like perform extremely well in game. So make sure that you look after the champions that are the strongest in your role. Like for example, for mid lane right now, I would just like play Malzahar and Kassadin, and if Zoe is open, because those 3 champions just dominate games. It's like there's not much you can do at all against those sort of champions. And for top lane right now, it's Nasus, Illaoi, Gangplank, and also Vladimir. So you need to play the strongest champions if you want to have a really high win ratio, if you haven't previously like one-tricked for 2 seasons or stuff like that. But even if you have like played for example like Zed for 2 entire seasons and you're stuck at an MMR, just try playing one of the like super broken champions and play it for a couple of games and like really go in with the mentality that you're gonna try hard and learn these champions, because if you do, you will have really high win ratios. So that's the first tip. The other thing is to, when you do this, you really have to like be patient and you have to stay very calm. You can't expect when you play these champions for the first time that you're gonna perform against other players that you have faced that have played the champions, where you think like, oh my god, the champion is so broken I can't do anything, and then you play it yourself and you feel like the champion is a lot weaker. Now that's because you don't have experience with the champion, and when you go through the learning process, it's very important to have an open mind and constantly look at your own mistakes, and if your teammates are criticizing you for the same thing every game, you're probably doing something wrong in the end. So that's one thing to keep in mind as well, even though of course you should mute people that are just blatantly flaming and calling you an idiot or calling you bad or stuff. If someone is telling you like you're leaving side lanes too much, you're not pushing in side lanes, like you have to fix that, and those things of course work differently with different champions, but it's very important like still to just like keep a calm mind and just focus on trying to improve as much as you can. So the other thing, this is the like third tip, and this one is actually super important, is to commit to a strategy. Like when you pick one of the champions, you have to have a like strategy in mind that can net you a win condition. So for example, if I'm playing like Zoe for mid, my main goal is to basically just survive lane, because that's actually her weakest part, even though her laning can be like quite devastating if you're really good at her. I would just try to like farm up, like have a strategy where I always have like at least 8 CS at 10 minutes, and then once it reaches the mid game, I would like really look and try to get my team to like group and force her on sieges, because that's when Zoe is the strongest, when she can just like poke out the enemies over and over again, and you just like go in for the poke, and you never commit to like stupid plays. You always just try to be in that siege position, and if the enemy team are sieging, you just stay really far back and just constantly shove Qs on them, and you don't really go out of your way to like do a really weird roam roam bot or try to force something around side lanes or in the jungle or stuff like that. It's just like not worth it. So I'll give a correlation to when I'm playing Nasus right now. Basically, if I see a fight going on top side at around like level 4 or stuff when my champion is the weakest, it's better to actually let my jungle die, and he will be really mad and he will say like, Nasus, why didn't you come and stuff like that. Just like ignore that, because you have to have like a solid game strategy which you go into the game with. And another example is maybe when I'm like pretty ahead as Nasus, I could group and we could still maybe win the fight, and maybe my team is calling me to group. But if I have the solid game strategy to just always split push as Nasus, which is like 90% of the time correct, maybe that 10% of the time it will actually be better to group. But if you want to have like a really high win percentage, just go for the 90% play all the time, even though it might be tempting to do something else. Because if you stick to one strategy over and over again, you will refine that a lot more, and you will get a lot more proficient at it, and then you will execute it better over time. So that's like the general thought process. The last tip I have for you today, which is also important, probably one of the more important things actually, and this actually really depends on the champion, but most of the time this actually applies. So it's to not care about your KDA. And I know that like might be really hard for some of you, because it's like really fun to brag about your KDAs on op.gg, or like tell your friends to look at your match history or stuff like that. But the thing is, in the end, all that matters is what rank you are, because what's better, having a high KDA in like Platinum 2, or having like a decent KDA and being like Diamond 4? I mean, there's like no argument there. Of course it's better to be higher ranked, like that's the main purpose of this, to help you guys climb. And there's like so many examples where I, as Nasus for example, have split pushed, and I know that the enemy team are all coming towards me, but I'm like splitting bot lane, and if they come more than 3 people, it's free Nash for my team, and if I commit, I actually get the tower as well. And like a trade where I die, I get the tower and my team gets Nash. That's like 100 out of 100 times worth it. So keep in mind that there are a lot of plays you can make in solo queue, which may end up with you dying, that are actually extremely worth playing out. Now obviously Nasus is like an extreme example for this, but there are so many different scenarios where this could be a really good play. Like if you're playing a mid laner, like such as Kassadin or something, and the enemy team's like Vayne, because Vayne is super popular right now, let's say Vayne is really fed and she's like killing her entire team, like it's super worth to just save your flash, and then when there's a really important team fight breaking out, you stack your ultimate, and then you just flash ult on Vayne and one-shot her, and you die yourself. And that's like a play that can really win you the game. And there's like so many different scenarios of this, and I see a lot of people being really afraid to go in and make plays because they're afraid that they're gonna ruin their KDA or something, and it's just like blatantly stupid. It's much better to try to play for the optimal win conditions rather than your KDA. But anyways guys, I really hope this video helped you out, and if you have any other tips that you would like to share with the rest of the people watching this, you can feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. But other than that, thanks a lot for watching this video guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.